Welcome everyone to this almost awesome channel. I'm I Wanna Want. I wanted to create a new series which will be called What If, in which I discuss ideas I have for Battlefield. I do realize that this is a very common series on YouTube, but I had a few ideas I wanted to share and get your feedback on. So today, I'm gonna discuss single player maps. I'm just gonna take example of BF4 as I haven't played the Hardline campaign yet. So, those single player maps. So these are used once at most by the player and then never ever used again. Except for the multiplayer maps that share many assets with the single player ones. An example, Operation Locker and few others. First, I'm gonna take example of few Battlefield 4 single player locations that I find great and then expose my idea. Even though some multiplayer maps were inspired by the single player ones, most of them are different from the single player one. An example, the single player version of Siege of Shanghai is much more detailed and contains far more sets than the multiplayer one. An example, the rooftop, which is far more destructible and funner to play on in the single player. Instead, in the multiplayer, we just get a simple, basic rooftop with just simple lifts that lead to it. On the other hand, some missions are completely independent from the multiplayer maps. They don't have any equivalent and are really used once by the player and then thrown away. In the first mission, Baiku, you are quickly put into a big working site. It is quite detailed, quite fun to play on, and it even has its little explosion or revolution moment, as you want to call it, implemented. And there are different playable combat areas scattered around the mission, where you get to fight waves of enemies. My idea, which is quite simple in my opinion, would be that DICE takes this mission, adds out of bounds zones, spawns, and make it a playable multiplayer themed deathmatch domination map. Other game modes such as Conquest would be quite complicated to implement due to the small size of the combat areas. This still is the unique truck transportation vehicle only found in single player. I am by no means a game developer, but that doesn't seem too hard, neither does it seem to need too much resources to make. And of course, they can make it a free DLC, so that everyone is happy. Devs reuse existing assets, so not much resources are needed, and players have new maps to play on. And of course, they then spend more time in the game, and in consequence, will spend more money in the franchise, would make a publisher I won't name very, very happy. The major drawback I see to implementing this is that those combat areas may not have a good flow, as these maps weren't designed well. Designed is a big word. They weren't designed around real people fighting each other, but rather one guy around some random AI spawning in waves. But I still think it would be a great idea to try it out in the CTE, for example. You gotta admit, this looks fantastic. So here is another great combat area that I think would make an awesome CQC map. The hangar in Singapore's mission. It's quite narrow and small, but 24 or 32 players would fit easily. Plus you have all these jets that can be blown up, and even the main plane that can be torn apart in something equivalent to revolution. There's a lot of cover, tons of containers that can remind of No Shore Canal, but with the addition of small ladders that add some vertical gameplay to diversify the gameplay. And overall, with all these conditions, I think it will be a very, very fun map. There are a lot of other great combat areas in the campaign, and very different ones, each having unique assets that I spent a lot of time and effort on, and that is only used once. Just play the campaign by yourself and you'll see. I've already played it twice, plus a third time to record this gameplay, so just see by yourself, and you'll maybe think the same thing as I do. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. Please tell me if you did, and if you didn't, please give me feedback. Tell me your thoughts on the idea, and try to criticize me as much as you can. I appreciate that. And please leave a like and sub if you want more Battlefield content. See you somewhere else.